Good evening. The former Senior Vice President of Group Marketing for Sagicor Group Jamaica, Alicia Moulton White, is facing charges in relation to alleged fraudulent activities on customers' accounts at the institution. Mrs. Moulton White's attorney, Bert Samuels, said his client is maintaining her innocence. The charges are reportedly in relation to the multi-million-dollar fraud case with two other former employees of the financial institution, Michaela McLeod and Tricia Moulton. Sagicor Group parted ways with Moulton White in recent weeks, informing that her position would be, quote, no longer form part of the structure effective December 31. Attorney Bert Samuels says that he tends to file civil action because his client's reputation has been injured. And Mello TV will bring you more on this developing story in subsequent newscasts. Motorists have 48 days to clear their traffic tickets arrears under an amnesty that is now in effect, which ends on January 31, 2023. If paid on time, demerit points generated after February 1, 2018 will be expunged. The government has also pledged to wipe from the slate all infractions committed on February 1, 2018 or earlier. The disclosure was made by the Office of the Prime Minister Tuesday evening, has been viewed as a victory for bus and taxi operators who lobbied for a payment plan to be implemented to spare drivers who had racked up reams of tickets. The new Road Traffic Act is expected to come into force next February. OPM said in a statement that legislative steps will be taken to render all demerit points and tickets accrued up to February 1, 2018 null, and as such, they will not be transitioned to the Road Traffic Act 2018. Provided that the tickets accrued after February 1, 2018 are paid before February 1, 2023, demerit points will be expunged upon the implementation of the Act. Taxi operators in the corporate area, in reacting to the amnesty, had this to say.
The good part about it is that them take off a lot of the era of it and started like from 2018 up. So you find say people do have a whole heap of tickets from way back years back. Bypass. That is like them erase that and say I pay from 2018 up. So that is really good still. But as I said, who are some of the drivers them really are worried about is if for the same amount of money they pay on the ticket, the judge are going to charge. That's some of them are worried about. Even though say from 2018 till now, still some man have a whole heap of ticket where we still don't know how them are going to really pay off that still. You understand? So, it's not really too bad still.
48 days is really short, but it is still better than nothing. So, it is so sad for who can afford it at this time to meet the requirement within 48 days, but it is still better than nothing. Can do something better. Could go at least 2 months or 3 months at least, but still appreciate it. Can be done.
Yeah, man, it can work, man, because it did work the first time, so we don't like it work now. We don't like a little longer time still, but we're going to work with it.
In the meantime, President of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, TODS, Edgerton Newman, is pleased that the government is granting motorists the opportunity to clear their outstanding traffic tickets by January 31. Mr. Newman called on the initiative an amnesty and stated that while it would be in place for some taxi operators and other motorists under pressure to find the funds to pay the outstanding fees, the move by the government was expected. Mr. Newman said in a statement that the challenge now is that persons have less than 50 days to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to the government, as some motorists and operators have in excess of 1,000 outstanding tickets, many of which are tickets already paid but have returned as unpaid. Meanwhile, Mr. Newman called on the government to implement a public education campaign on the Road Traffic Act 2018 and the Road Traffic Regulations 2022, which are slated to be implemented in February next year. According to Mr. Newman, the government seems to lack interest in the public education campaign, and he requested that the public education campaign runs until April, which he claims will benefit the public, including taxi operators. He pointed out that the commuting public will have challenges come February 2023, as many drivers will not be able to pay their outstanding traffic tickets. He urged all transport operators who can find a way to address the payment of their outstanding tickets to do so quickly in the interest of their investment and the commuting public. He added that members of the taxi operators sector will meet shortly to address the government's outstanding traffic ticket amnesty. In other news this evening, the police have charged Alexei Ziestev, the driver of the Toyota Prado motor car that was involved in Sunday's fatal crash along the Palisados main road in Kingston. The crash also involved a probox in which all 4 occupants were killed. Those killed have been identified as 53-year-old taxi operator Delroy Grant, his wife Camille Stevenson Grant, 57-year-old Rosemary Roberts Banton, and 18-year-old Zachary Heslop. Ziestev, a 52-year-old Russian national, has been charged with various offenses arising from the tragic crash. The action against him was confirmed last night by Assistant Commissioner of Police Gary McKenzie, who is head of the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch. The police report that about 5:50 Sunday morning, the Prado was heading towards the Norman Manley International Airport when the driver failed to keep left and slammed head-on into the Toyota Probox, which was being driven in the opposite direction. A high alert has been activated for 11-year-old Blessiana Francis, otherwise called Bless, of Callaloo Mews in St. Andrew, who's been missing since Tuesday, December 13. She's of brown complexion, stout build, and about 5 feet 2 inches tall. Reports from the Duhaney Park Police are that Blessiana was last seen at home. Her mode of dress at the time she went missing was a yellow Brazil jersey shirt. She was carrying a knapsack. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Blessiana Francis is being asked to contact the Duhaney Park Police Station at 876-933-4280, Police 119 emergency number, or the nearest police station. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the government is closer to the implementation of the National Identification System. He was speaking yesterday at the launch of the NIDS Technical Pilot Project at the First Enrollment Center, the Central Sorting Office in Kingston.
NIDS has taken over 40 years in coming, and now we are here today launching the NIDS Technical Pilot. In fact, during those 40 years, there were junctures when the policy intent for public good struggled to emerge in the face of challenges. But we remained undaunted. We kept pressing. Your government understands the importance of electronic digital identification for all Jamaicans and the role electronic digital identification plays in transforming and growing our society. I must say that I'm also happy to see members of the opposition here today, and it reaffirms the collective commitment to the implementation of the system and the importance of the project. We are this close to rolling out nationally across Jamaica. And I know that there is great anticipation, indeed I may say excitement, amongst Jamaicans who are hoping to benefit from having a national ID.
Mr. Holness also emphasized the importance of this program for young people under 18.
The benefit of a national ID is a big thing. It's a big thing for our young people who are below 18. In other words, presently, there is no national identification for people below the voting age. Now, we will have this. That's a big thing. It's a big thing when we eliminate the requirement for multiple forms of identification. So now you don't have to carry 2 IDs plus a reference to say you are who you are. It's a big thing when you don't have to go to your doctor, a lawyer, a policeman, or a justice of the peace to verify who you are. That's a big thing.
In the face of growing unease, the public sector about the calculation of arrears for allowances paid to the public sector workers, the government has sought to give assurance that there will be no recouping of the sums already paid. The Jamaica Civil Service Association met with representatives of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service on Monday to seek clarity on the intention of the government in relation to the allowances. Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark, has reiterated the government's position that there is no intention to recover allowances paid between April to November. Dr. Clark, during an interview yesterday, confirmed that the transfers will be made next week for the December salary at the new levels, as well as the arrears that represent the difference between the new system and what workers have already received. A woman was shot and killed in York Bush, St. James yesterday morning and her daughter shot and seriously injured. The deceased has been identified as Mello Cross, about 53-year-old, of York Bush. Reports by the police are that about 11 p.m., Cross and other family members were at home when armed men entered the dwelling and opened fire, hitting her and her daughter. Another female, who is identified to be the daughter-in-law of the deceased, is believed to have been kidnapped by the gunmen, and a search is now being carried out to locate her. The police visited the scene, which was processed, and the body removed to the morgue for post-mortem examination. The daughter was rushed to hospital, where she was treated and admitted in critical condition. Cross is the mother of Anthony Angus, a man who was named as a person of interest in the double murder of two men in York Bush during the month of October. He fled the community and was apprehended in the parish of St. Elizabeth in November. And that's our news package for this evening. Thank you for tuning in to Mello TV News. I'm Nicole Hales. Pleasant viewing.